hands were shaking as he watched the security footage. His 8-year-old twins sat in the playroom, laughing as they played with colored blocks on a tablet. Just a children's game. That's what it should have been. But something about the pattern they were making caused ice to flood through his veins. Something about the way those shapes connected. Something he recognized. "Daddy's going to be so proud when we show him." His daughter's voice came through the speaker. His finger hovered over his phone screen, frozen. The pattern. Where had he seen it before? And why did watching his own children play feel like staring into an abyss? He zoomed in on the woman sitting with them. She was smiling. But it wasn't the smile of someone watching children play. He slammed his laptop shut and ran for his car. He didn't know why yet. But every instinct screamed that something was terribly, terribly wrong. For days earlier, none of this had seemed possible. For days earlier, he stood at the pinnacle of his power, untouchable and unstoppable. The conference room exploded with applause as Marcus Thorne stepped away from the podium, his smile sharp as a knife's edge. Behind him, the screen displayed his company's stocks soaring to unprecedented heights. Flash bulbs erupted like miniature stars, capturing the face of innovation, the architect of tomorrow, the man who had revolutionized encryption technology. What they didn't capture was the slight tremor in his left hand, the one he always kept in his pocket during public appearances. Paranoia was the price of power, and Marcus paid it gladly. His assistant, Derek, appeared at his elbow as he descended from the stage. "Sir, the car is ready, and the new hire starts today." Marcus nodded curtly, his mind already racing ahead to the 17 security protocols waiting for his approval, the merger documents requiring his signature, the competitors who needed crushing. He slid into the back seat of his armored Mercedes, the door closing with a hermetic seal that shut out the world. The leather interior smelled of money and control. "The maid?" Marcus asked, scrolling through his phone. "Anna Volkov, 28. Background check came back spotless. References are solid. She'll handle the house and assist with the children when needed." Marcus grunted. The twins. His children. 8 years old and growing up in the most secure, most technologically advanced home in the country. They had everything. Everything except the one thing he couldn't give them, time. But time was money, and money was power, and power was survival. His ex-wife had understood that, eventually. Understood it so well she'd taken the settlement and disappeared to the French Riviera. The car glided through iron gates that responded to his biometric signature. Sensor arrays tracked their approach. The house rose before him like a monument to achievement, all glass and steel and impossible angles. Smart windows adjusted their tint as the afternoon sun shifted. Security drones hummed overhead, tiny guardians circling their domain. Inside, the house was silent except for the whisper of climate control and the soft chime of automated systems. Marcus loosened his tie, his eyes automatically scanning the security panel in the entryway. All green, all secure, all under control. "Mr. Thorne?" The voice was soft, professionally neutral. He turned. Anna stood in the hallway leading to the kitchen, dressed in simple gray, her dark hair pulled back in a neat bun. She was younger than he'd expected, with pale skin and remarkably steady eyes. Something about her stillness made him pause. "You're Anna?" "Yes, sir. I wanted to introduce myself properly. The children are in the playroom. I've prepared dinner according to the dietary guidelines you provided." Marcus studied her face, looking for the usual signs. Nervousness, overeagerness, the desperate desire to please that came with working for someone like him. He saw none of it, just calm professionalism. "The rules are simple," he said, pulling out his phone to display a document. "You follow the schedule. You don't use personal devices while working. You don't access my office or any locked rooms. The children's screen time is monitored and approved by me. Questions?" "No, sir." "Good." He started toward his office, then paused. "They like you. We're getting acquainted. They're very bright." Something in her tone made him look back, but her expression remained neutral. He nodded and continued to his sanctuary, the one room in the house that was entirely his. The door sealed behind him with a satisfying click. On his desk, 3 monitors flickered to life, displaying data streams, stock tickers, encrypted communications. This was his real world. This was where he belonged. Not in a playroom with building blocks and children's laughter. Hours passed. The sun set, painting the windows gold, then red, then purple. Marcus barely noticed. He was deep in a financial projection when his phone buzzed with an alert from the home security system. Minor network anomaly detected. Playroom device cluster. He frowned. The twins had tablets, carefully monitored and locked down. They could access educational content, approve games, nothing more. He made a mental note to have Derek check it in the morning and return to his work. In the playroom 3 floors above, Anna sat cross-legged on the carpet with the twins. Sophia and Michael, mirror images of their father's intensity, but still soft with childhood innocence. They hunched over a tablet, fingers moving across the screen. Like this? Michael asked, dragging a blue cube next to a red one. Exactly, Anna said, her voice warm. Now, what happens when you put them together? The cubes merged, forming a purple shape. Sophia clapped her hands. They make a new color. Very good. And if you remember the pattern, you can build something bigger. Something important. Anna's smile didn't reach her eyes. Your father would be proud. Daddy's always working, Sophia said, her enthusiasm dimming. He works very hard, Anna agreed. But you know what? The game I'm teaching you? Your father knows it too. He learned a long time ago. Really? Michael's eyes lit up. Really? And when you get very good at it, maybe you can show him. Maybe you can remind him what it's like to play. The children bent over the tablet again, determined. Anna watched them, her expression unreadable. In the color blocks they arranged, in the patterns they created, lay fragments of something far more complex than a children's game. Each sequence they completed unlocked another layer. Each puzzle solved revealed another piece. Downstairs, Marcus finally closed his laptop at midnight. The house was dark and quiet. He walked through rooms that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime, past art that belonged to museums, under lights that adjusted automatically to his presence. He paused outside the twins' bedroom. The door was cracked open. Inside, he could see them sleeping, small forms buried in blankets that cost $500 each. Michael clutched a stuffed bear that his mother had given him before she left. Sophia slept with her fist curled near her face, the way she had as a baby. Something tightened in Marcus's chest. He couldn't name it. Didn't want to. He closed the door gently and continued to his own bedroom, where he would sleep for 5 hours before starting the cycle again. 3 days passed. Marcus noticed nothing unusual except that the twins seemed happier. They chattered about their special game, at dinner, the rare meal where he actually sat with them. Anna served silently, efficiently, always at the edge of his awareness. What game? He asked, more to fill the silence than from genuine interest. The one Anna taught us, Sophia explained. You make patterns with colored blocks, and when you get them right, they unlock new levels. Sounds educational, Marcus said, already thinking about the contract negotiation scheduled for tomorrow. It is, Anna said from the kitchen doorway. It teaches problem solving, sequential thinking, pattern recognition. Marcus looked at her. She met his gaze steadily. Good, he said finally. Derek mentioned you're doing excellent work. Thank you, sir. On the 4th day, Marcus was in a board meeting when his phone lit up with an urgent security alert. Unauthorized encryption activity detected. Source, Playroom, 01. His blood went cold. He excused himself and stepped into the hallway, pulling up the security feed on his phone. The Playroom camera showed Anna and the twins sitting together, the tablet between them. Marcus zoomed in on the screen. Colored blocks moved in complex patterns, forming and reforming. His hands started shaking. Not from paranoia this time. From recognition. Those patterns. He knew those patterns. 12 years ago, he'd seen them every day for 6 months. When he'd worked with his partner, David Volkov, on the encryption algorithm that had made Marcus billions. The algorithm he'd stolen by exploiting a loophole in their partnership agreement. The algorithm that had destroyed David's career, his reputation, his life. The blocks on that screen weren't a children's game. They were fragments of the master encryption key, the one thing that could unlock everything Marcus had built. Every transaction, every secret, every stolen piece of intellectual property. His mind raced. Volkov, Anna Volkov, the background check. It had said her father was deceased, her mother remarried, nothing concerning. But they hadn't looked deeper, hadn't connected the dots because Marcus had buried David's name so thoroughly that it barely existed anymore. He watched Anna's face on the screen. She was smiling at the children, patient and kind. But there was something else there too, something cold and purposeful. "Keep playing," he heard her say through the audio feed. "You're almost finished with this level." Marcus ran. He pushed through the building's exit, ignoring startled employees, and sprinted to his car. His driver looked shocked, but said nothing as Marcus barked the address. The car accelerated through traffic, sensors guiding it around obstacles at speeds that would have been reckless with a human at the wheel. His phone buzzed continuously. More alerts, more encryption activity. The patterns were becoming more complex, more complete. In his mind, he calculated how much longer it would take if the twins completed the sequence. If the final key assembled itself, everything would unlock. His servers, his files, his secrets. The evidence of what he'd done to David Volkov. The proof he'd kept, stupidly, as insurance against competitors. The documentation of every theft, every betrayal, every ruthless decision that had built his empire. "Faster," he told the car. The gates to his estate opened too slowly. Marcus was out of the car before it fully stopped, running across the driveway, through the front door. The security panel showed him everything was normal. Everything was fine, but he could hear it now, the soft chime of the tablet from the playroom above. He took the stairs 3 at a time. His heart hammered against his ribs. The playroom door was open. Inside, the twins sat with their backs to him, focused on the screen. Anna stood behind them, her hand resting gently on Michael's shoulder. "What is this game?" Marcus's voice came out harsh, too loud. The twins jumped. Michael dropped the tablet. Sophia's face crumpled, tears forming immediately. "Daddy," she whispered. But Marcus barely saw them. His eyes were locked on Anna, who straightened slowly, her expression transforming. The professional mask fell away, revealing something harder underneath, something that had been waiting. "It's not a game," Anna said quietly. "It's a lesson. I don't know what you think you're doing, but don't you?" She took a step forward. The twins scrambled toward their father, frightened by the sudden tension. "Don't you recognize it, Marcus? Or did you forget after you destroyed my father?" The room tilted. Marcus put a hand on the doorframe to steady himself. "David Volkov was my father," Anna continued, her voice steady but filled with ice. "He taught me this algorithm when I was younger than them. He taught me how beautiful it was, how it could change the world. And then you stole it. You twisted the partnership agreement, filed the patents under your name, and left him with nothing. That was business," Marcus said, but his voice lacked conviction. "That was theft, and it killed him. Not immediately. Slowly. First his reputation, then his career, then his will to live. I watched him fade away while you built skyscrapers with his dreams." Sophia was crying openly now, clutching Marcus's leg. Michael stood frozen, not understanding but sensing the danger. Marcus felt the weight of their fear, their confusion, and for the first time in years, felt something crack inside his carefully constructed walls. "So what?" Marcus forced strength back into his voice. "You came here for revenge? You used my children." "I taught them," Anna corrected, "just like my father taught me. And they're very good students. Smart, creative, hungry to learn. Everything you're too busy to notice." She picked up the tablet from where Michael had dropped it. The screen showed a complex pattern, nearly complete. Marcus's stomach dropped when he saw how far along it was. "One more sequence," Anna said. "That's all that's left. And when they complete it, every file in your system unlocks. Every secret you've kept, every person you betrayed, every lie you've built your empire on, all of it goes public. Automatically. Irreversibly. You're insane. I'm my father's daughter." She set the tablet on a table, the screen still glowing. "He always said, the truth has a way of surfacing. I'm just helping it along." Marcus pulled out his phone, fingers shaking as he pulled up his security controls. He could shut down the network, wipe the drives, activate emergency protocols. But Anna was already shaking her head. "Go ahead," she said. "Try. I've been here 4 days, Marcus. 4 days with complete access to your home network. Every backdoor you built into your security system, I found. Every failsafe I disabled. You taught the world that you were smarter than everyone else. You just never considered that someone might have learned from the person you stole from. You tried anyway. Password denied. Biometric authentication failed. Emergency override not responding. On the screen, a simple message appeared. System access restricted. Administrator privileges revoked. No. The word came out strangled. Marcus tried again, frantically entering codes, but each attempt failed. No, no, no. Daddy. Sophia tugged at his shirt. Are we in trouble? The question cut through his panic. Marcus looked down at his daughter's tear-stained face, at Michael's wide, frightened eyes. They didn't understand. They'd just been playing a game with someone they trusted. Someone he'd brought into their home. You used children, Marcus said, his voice breaking. Whatever I did to your father, they're innocent. So was I, Anna replied. I was 10 years old when my father came home and told me we were losing our house. 12 when he had his first heart attack from stress. 15 when he stopped getting out of bed. 17 when I found him with the pills. Her voice cracked for the first time. So yes, I use your children to teach them a game. But you've used them their entire lives as props in your perfect life, as proof that you're not the monster you actually are. Marcus flinched. The truth of it hit harder than any accusation. They deserve better than you, Anna continued. But that's not my choice to make. What I can do is make sure you understand what it means to lose everything. She moved toward the tablet. Marcus lunged forward, but she was faster, her finger hovering over the final sequence. Wait, the word ripped from his throat. Wait, please. Anna paused. Why should I? Because you're right. The admission cost him everything. Marcus felt his knees weaken. You're right. I stole from your father. I justified it as business, as survival, as a dozen other things. But the truth is, I saw an opportunity, and I took it. I didn't think about the cost. I never do. He looked at his children, really looked at them. Sophia was still crying, not understanding why the nice lady who'd been so kind to them suddenly seemed scary. Michael was trying to be brave, but his lower lip trembled. I've built a fortress, Marcus continued, his voice raw. The most secure home in the country. Every door locked, every window protected, every threat neutralized. But I never protected them from the one thing that could actually hurt them. Me. My choices. My sins. Pretty words, Anna said. But they won't bring my father back. No, nothing will. And nothing I say will make what I did right. But finishing that sequence. Marcus gestured to the tablet. That doesn't hurt me. Not really. It hurts them. When the press tears apart their father. When their classmates' parents tell them they can't play with the children of a fraud. When they're old enough to read the articles about how their college tuition came from stolen work. That's who pays the price. Anna's finger trembled over the screen. For a long moment, no one moved. Then slowly, she lowered her hand. I didn't come here to hurt children, she said quietly. I came here to make you understand what my father lost. And maybe, finally you do. What do you want? Marcus asked. Want? Anna laughed bitterly. I wanted my father back. I wanted the years he lost. I wanted him to see his work celebrated instead of stolen. But I can't have any of that. She walked to the window, looking out at the sprawling estate. Do you know what my father said before he died? He said he forgave you. Said that holding on to anger would just destroy me the way regret destroyed him. I thought he was weak for saying that. Broken. Maybe he was wiser than both of us, Marcus said. Anna turned back to face him. The coldness in her expression had fractured, revealing exhaustion underneath. Maybe, but wisdom doesn't pay rent. It didn't save his reputation. It didn't give me a father for my last year of high school. Let me make it right, Marcus said. Not with words, with actions. How? Anna's laugh was hollow. You can't undo the past. No, but I can acknowledge it. Publicly. I can credit your father's work. I can endow a research grant in his name. I can tell the truth about where the algorithm came from. And destroy yourself in the process. Anna shook her head. That's not redemption. That's just another calculation. Trading your reputation for your secrets. Maybe, Marcus admitted. Or maybe it's understanding that some debts can never be paid, only acknowledged. Your father deserves recognition. His name deserves to be remembered for his brilliance, not buried under my success. Anna studied him for a long moment. The twins had gone quiet, sensing the shift in the room's energy. Marcus knelt down, pulling them close. They clung to him, and he realized how rarely he'd held them like this. How rarely he'd been present enough to be held. "I'm sorry," he whispered to them. "I'm so sorry you had to see this." "Is Anna leaving?" Michael asked. The question hung in the air. Anna walked back to the table and picked up the tablet. Marcus tensed, but she simply closed the application. The colorful blocks disappeared, the complex pattern dissolving into darkness. "The sequence is incomplete," she said. "It'll reset in 72 hours if not finished. Your security will restore by then." "And then?" Marcus asked. "And then I leave. You have 3 days to decide what kind of person you want to be." She looked at the twins. "What kind of father?" "I want to do right by your father's memory," Marcus said. "I want to try." "Trying isn't enough." "No, but it's a start." He stood, still holding his children. "I can't give you back what I took, but I can stop pretending I didn't take it. I can face the consequences of my choices." Anna was silent for a long time. Then she nodded just once. "I'll be watching. If you backtrack, if you try to bury this again, I have copies of everything. Encrypted, distributed, timed release. Cross me, and it all goes public anyway." "I understand." She moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, they really are brilliant kids. They understood the algorithm faster than most graduate students would. If you actually spend time with them, you might realize what you have. After she left, Marcus stood in the playroom with his children pressed against him. The tablet sat on the table, dark and quiet. Outside, the security drones continued their patrol. The sensors tracked every movement. The fortress remained secure. But inside, something fundamental had cracked. That night, Marcus didn't go to his office. He sat with the twins in their room, reading stories until they fell asleep. When Sophia asked if Anna would come back, he told her he didn't know. When Michael asked if they'd done something wrong, Marcus said no, the adults had, and they would try to fix it. The next morning, Marcus called his lawyers, then his PR team, then his board of directors. The conversation was short and brutal. "I'm preparing a statement," he told them, acknowledging that the core encryption algorithm was co-developed with a partner who I failed to properly credit, David Volkov. His contributions were essential, and history should reflect that. The lawyers erupted. The PR team outlined the lawsuits that would follow. The board demanded he reconsider. Marcus listened to them all, then said, "It's already decided. Draft the language." Over the next week, the process was agonizing. Every lawyer wanted to minimize the admission. Every advisor pushed for carefully crafted language that would blur the truth. Marcus fought them at every turn, insisting on clarity, on honesty, on giving David Volkov the recognition he deserved. The press release went out on a Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, Marcus's phone was exploding with calls. Competitors smelled blood. Investors panicked. The stock price dropped 18% in a single day. But something else happened too. Letters began arriving. Emails from former colleagues of David's, thanking Marcus for finally acknowledging the truth. A message from David's sister, saying that while forgiveness wasn't hers to give, she appreciated seeing her brother's name restored. And most surprisingly, a call from Anna. "I saw the statement," she said. "It's not enough," Marcus replied. "It'll never be enough." "But it's true." "Yes, it is." A pause. "For what it's worth, my father would have appreciated it. I'm establishing a research grant in his name. Full funding for graduate students working in encryption and cybersecurity. His name will be on the building." That's good." Her voice caught. "Thank you." After she hung up, Marcus sat in his office, the fortress he'd built against the world, and felt the weight of his choices. The stock would recover, or it wouldn't. The business would survive, or it wouldn't. But his children would know that their father had chosen truth over comfort, had chosen to acknowledge his mistakes rather than bury them deeper. 2 months later, Marcus stood in the twins' playroom. He'd been spending more time here, learning the games they liked, listening to the stories they told. Anna had not returned, but she'd sent a package, a framed photo of David Volkov in his prime, smiling at the camera, holding a whiteboard covered in equations. Marcus hung it in his office, where he'd see it every day. A reminder, a reckoning. The fortress remained secure, but its purpose had changed. It was no longer just a monument to achievement, a barrier against the world. It was a home, imperfect, complicated, but real. Sophia ran into the room, Michael close behind. "Daddy, come see what we built." Marcus smiled and followed them. No encrypted algorithms this time. Just a blanket fort, held together with chairs and determination. They pulled him inside, and in the dim, makeshift space, surrounded by pillows and giggling children, Marcus Thorne finally felt like he'd unlocked something more valuable than any code. Outside, the sun set over the estate. Security systems hummed. Drones patrolled. But inside the blanket fort, a father held his children, and for the first time in years, felt present. Felt real. The game was over. The revenge complete. Not through destruction, but through the harder path of truth and change. Anna had taught his children more than an algorithm. She'd taught them, and him, that some patterns, once broken, can be rebuilt into something better. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button and subscribe for more thrilling stories that'll make you think twice about the choices we make. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in Marcus's position? Would you have chosen truth or protected your empire at all costs? Let's discuss in the comments. And remember, the best revenge isn't always destruction. Sometimes it's showing someone exactly who they've become. See you in the next story.